everyone, today in this video I'm going to be checking out the Dreo Smart Pedestal Fan. I did receive the sample directly from Dreo, but I want you to know that any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. We have a nice graphic of the fan right here. This will work with your smartphone or the included remote control. We also got a control panel up there. There's some additional information for you on the side right here, letting you know it's available for iOS and Android devices with the QR code to the app and their customer service and contact information. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature consisting of a user guide and manual and a quick start guide. Next, you'll see we have our base plate here. It's got a really cool sparkly finish to it. We'll flip it over to the bottom. You'll see the other side of it. Next, you'll notice we have two tools here. We have a Phillips head screwdriver and an Allen wrench multi-tool. We have one bolt and one washer. We have our Dreo remote control. And we have our power supply, an adapter right here. This is a barrel connector if you're interested. And then lastly, we have the fan itself. Let's look at this in more detail. Looking at the front of the fan, you'll see Dreo's logo and branding here with our gray finish. You might notice on the sides we have our brown leather contrast. Now this isn't real leather, it's just plastic molded to look like aged leather, but I like the accent that it puts on the fan. Gives you a more premium feel. We have our shiny, sparkly gray finish here on the main arm. You'll see our display down here, not illuminated right now. Let's give you that side profile. You'll see our same shiny finish to match the base. Here's a peek at the back side. Get a feel for that finish and accent again of our fake plastic leather. Couple of screws there. We also have further down our support center information, additional product info, power plug. That's where we're going to connect the included power supply. And then we can look at the very bottom of the fan from both sides. We have our adjustment knob back there. This is where we're going to attach the base plate. And looking at it from the other side, you'll get a feel for the bottom of the unit. Now let's go ahead, let's get the stand installed. To install the base, reference the quick start guide, but you'll take your base piece and you'll notice there's a little notch, lip, ledge, whatever you call it, on this one side of the base. That's going to line up with the back side right here where we have that notch cut out. So make sure they're lined up just like so. You can set them down. Then you'll take your bolt and your washer just like this and put it through the back side and tighten them in place. So line this up. It's only going to fit one way. Take your bolt and washer and put them both through the backside and tighten down with the included tool that's provided. So that's what it'll look like when you finish installing the base. Get it nice and snug and tight. And now they're both connected together and your fan can stand upright on its own. On the bottom, you can make about a 5-inch adjustment if you want to increase or decrease the height. So we just loosen this knob and you'll see the fan will rise up to right there. Then you can just lock it in place. If you want to lower it back down, just pick and choose where you want it to stop and then you can tighten it back down. But we get about 5 inches or so of additional height if that's what you desire. All right guys, it's time for a little field trip here. We have the fan set up and I wanted to show you all the different control options we have. So first up on the right hand side we have our power button followed by our plus and minus buttons. So these are going to be how we're able to adjust the fan speed. Next we have our oscillation button for our horizontal oscillation followed by all the way to the left our vertical oscillation settings. So watch what happens here as we go through all the different buttons. Follow these indicator lights here. So basically we can adjust our vertical oscillation here. Watch what happens. We'll touch it and you'll see right there it's lined up. So we have two options, turn it on or off. So now it's activated and it's going to oscillate for us up and down. And you'll see our second oscillation button. So let's turn that one off. Right here is going to be illuminated, and then we can toggle it between 60, 90, and 120. So that's going to be our full horizontal oscillation. Really wide reaching. Also take note, hold that for 5 seconds for your device Wi-Fi during setup. So we can turn that off. And then you'll see we have our minus and plus buttons right here, so we can adjust our fan speed. Pick and choose anywhere between 1 and 8. And then lastly, we're back to the power button where we can turn everything off. Using the Dreo remote control unlocks additional features. So you'll see we have all the same controls, but we pick up our mode button here. So then we can press that mode button, and now we have the auto light illuminated. We can press it again, and now we're in turbo mode. And we can press it again, and we're back to our regular default. You'll also see we have our timer button here, so we can press that. So we're going to activate the timer, and then you'll see we can pick and choose 1 to 8 hours for the timer for our fan to then turn off. Now really quickly, I wanted to show you the display to get a feel for that and what it looks like. So up at the top, that's our current fan speed. That can go all the way up to 8. You'll see us changing the speed there. Back down to 1. You'll notice we currently have both vertical and horizontal oscillation on, and our Wi-Fi is connected. We can press those oscillation buttons. You'll see we just turned it off. We turned it back on, back off. So you get the idea there. And now pressing it a couple of times will give us those different settings. So we can adjust the horizontal one. Vertical one, you'll see us pressing it here. It's just going to turn it on and off. We do not have any additional settings. You can change that further in the mobile app. And then our timer, same thing. So now we can choose our time, the hours that we want, and the timer will stay lit, or we can go back to 0 and it will shut itself off. So you can see that. And then lastly, it will illuminate our different modes: auto, turbo, back to auto, or off. You get the idea there. So we can do all that right there within the display. It's not the brightest display, as you can tell. The 1 is going to be your easiest number to see, but it is nice that we have that here if you're not looking at the top or on your phone. Now let's talk about the Dreo app. I wanted to show you a quick highlight of some of the app's features. Now keep in mind, with this particular mobile app, I've always found it very buggy and glitchy. It's difficult to set up your device. It doesn't seem to think it's set up, but it is. Things like that. You may encounter the same thing with your experience. So I'd like to see some improvement to this app. But once you have your device set up, you can quickly enter into it. You'll view different modes here: normal, auto, sleep, natural, and then turbo and custom. You can read up on those. We can choose them right here, whatever mode we want. In the standard mode, we have our normal, natural, sleep, and auto submodes, basically. We can also move this slider from 1 to 8 or anywhere in between to adjust our fan speed settings. Turbo is going to go to your maximum circulation possible. And then we have our custom settings. So let's go back to standard, and then let's jump to custom. And you'll see that we have use with AC. This is a really neat feature, probably my favorite feature within the app. So basically it matches the fan speed to your current AC temperature settings. So you can set all that right here and edit that as you see fit. I think that's great. So depending on the temp of your house or your room, it will adjust the fan accordingly. Or you can set up basically your own schedule right here. Pick and choose the hour, the minute, and the fan speed setting. So you can edit your schedule there. But I like the use with AC option, or just your typical standard setting, and you can manually adjust as you see fit. And then the bread and butter of this particular fan is going to be that dual oscillation. So we can adjust both oscillation settings here. We have our horizontal position anywhere between 30 and 120 right there. And then we have our vertical anywhere between 45 and 105 degrees. So you can turn one off or on, both off or on, or use both. Up to you. Pick and choose your angle. Then we have our preferences here if you want to mute the device, display auto off, child lock, if you need to calibrate the oscillation or change the temperature. You can do all that within the app. Don't forget about that blue button to turn it on or off. And then we can quickly view some of those settings right here. We have a timer to turn off after X amount of time, or if you had it off, this will change to turning it on after a certain amount of time. Then we have all of our device settings here. We can share this with friends or family, Wi-Fi, network information, firmware updates, user manual, FAQ, voice control with Amazon and Google Assistant, and you can delete the device. So very customizable app, but it might just be hit or miss in regards to its performance. Now, maybe you're wondering, hey, how loud is this fan? Well, I'm glad you asked. So first up, we have it in the quietest, lowest fan speed setting. And we got our fancy pantsy decibel meter out here. And here's the results that we got. This peaked at 39.8 decibels for the max readout, having it right up close next to the fan. So that's going to put it in perspective, because now we're going to see how loud this fan is at its loudest setting, which is turbo. With turbo activated, we got 69.7 for our max readout. Definitely noticeable. It's pushing a lot of volume of air through here. Really concentrated, and I'd say for what it's doing, it's still not even that loud. Yes, it's going to be noticeable. You probably would be bothered by it if you sat next to it for a long period of time. But then again, the trade-off is you're getting a lot of air blown your way. But anyways, there's plenty to work with, whether it's going to be on speed setting 1 or turbo. It's not going to be too loud or unbearable. So now let me share with you my final thoughts after using the Dreo Smart Pedestal Fan. Here's what I want to share with you guys. So first up, in regards to build quality, design, top notch. It looks great. I do wish this was like real leather, things like that, but not a big deal. I mean, it's just a fan after all. The display's cool. I'm just not sure the location of the display and the buttons. There might be a better way to configure everything. The buttons are super accessible up at the top, which is great, but I don't think it looks the best. So maybe there's a way they could hide that or reconfigure that in the future. But it works really, really well. The key takeaway is that dual oscillation control, horizontal and vertical. Choose either or, none at all, or have them both running at the same time. The mobile app is more of a double-edged sword. It does unlock a lot of additional functionality. My favorite feature within the app is the ability to have this basically sync up with your AC, so it measures the ambient temperature in your room and adjust the fan according to your settings. That is really, really clever and cool. But it doesn't display the temperature anywhere on the fan. It'd be nice if we had a visual indicator on our display down here showing us our current room temp. I'd love to see that. And the mobile app itself is quite buggy in my opinion. We've had a lot of connection issues. It thought it didn't set it up initially, kept saying that it wasn't successful, even though after a couple of seconds, it just randomly set itself up. So there's a lot of things like that within the app that I think they need to work on, because the features are great within the app. The UI is really easy to navigate, but it just seems buggy. So I'm not sure if they need to spend more time and money developing it, but I'd like to see the app built out in the future, because you are paying a premium to have this fan be smart, but I'm not sure the app lives up to the expectation that you're getting with this fan. Manual controls are great. Remote control works well. When the app is working, really enjoyable, but you might find some connection issues and just some interesting things maybe during setup. Now, that could have just been me. It could just be my network, but I've set up quite a few Dreo devices that have all had a similar experience. So I guess just follow best practices, 2.4 gigahertz network, be as close to your router as possible, make sure your phone and the app and everything else is up to date. But overall, really cool. Highlight is definitely the ability to have vertical and horizontal oscillation. And within the mobile app, it's going to be that AC setting for me. But the cons are going to be the app just doesn't seem like it's there yet developmentally, but hopefully through future updates, things like that, it can become more reliable.